Thank you so much for finding me. Whatever manner you did, we just thank you. This is Sharon Doerr, Doorway to Hope. And I've been doing muscle testing, oh my goodness, well over 30 years. And this is just an introduction to the reason why and all the wonderful, wonderful things that you can do with learning how to talk to the body. And yes, before we start, we'll get all the housekeeping out of the way. Sharon Doerr, spelled in the traditional German manner, Doerr, doorwaytohope.com, Sharon at doorwaytohope.com. You can look up Doorway to Hope on Facebook, Sharon Doerr, whatever. And I warn you ahead of time, you get me started talking about muscle testing, and it's pretty hard to shut me up because, my goodness, it is my second language. I mean, it's as valid as sight and sound and taste. It doesn't lie. It's free. Anybody and everybody can do it. We just haven't been taught. And so I just want to share some of the reasons why, some of the things in this introduction to what and why I get so wound up about muscle testing. And you're going to have to forgive me about that, but it's just one of my favorite things. And see, I learned about it over 35 years ago. I was at my chiropractor's office and he was late coming in. And I'm sitting there kind of twiddling my thumbs, and he comes in and says, Sharon, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be late, but I just had to show that new secretary proved to her why the reason she's so tired and out of energy is all that rock music she listens to. Well, now this was new to me, and must have shown in my face. And I said, but he left the room. He says, you mean I never talked to you about this? And he comes back and he places a book in my hand. Sorry, while I turn my back, I should have had it ready. But it's still out on the internet. Your Body Doesn't Lie by Dr. John Diamond, who is a medical doctor who used this in his medical practice. And put it in my hand. I took it home, and oh my gosh. For the next 3 days, I drove everybody crazy. I mean, I had a route sales, and these people had become my friends. And he says, hold on your arm, think about an apple, think about a cigarette, and think about something happy, think about something you're angry or scared of. But the big thing was God was ahead of me. Because you see, we had just gotten our second child that we didn't know yet we were going to be adopting, but he landed in our world. He was 9 years old, almost as big as I was. All he knew how to do was lie and get his brother and everyone else in trouble because Mom believed him and everybody else got the consequences. And he landed in my life. My birthday present, actually. Child I never want to see again. And we don't know what to do. We get up in the morning, the refrigerator door is hanging open. There's chocolate syrup down the carpet. You say, Kyle, you were in the refrigerator. Oh, no, I was sleeping sound. That was my brother trying to get me in trouble again. And we already had the brother, and the brother's under the bed screaming in terror, wondering if he's going to get beat again. And I'm saying, God, help. So Dr. Pauls gives me this book. And if God himself had stood in the room with Dr. and I and saying, Sharon, 35, 40 years from now, you're still going to be teaching this, and you will have taught it to over 1,500 people in 37 nations. Neither one of us would have believed him, but it's true. Here I am, 78 years old now, widow living 1,500 miles away from my nearest family, and yes, I have clients in over 37 nations, and I spend 50% of my time helping them learn how to muscle test. So, anyway, I'm sitting here, and I did all. And it took me three days. We humans aren't so bright sometimes, and me included. And I look across the counter, and there lays this book, Your Body Doesn't Lie. Oh my gosh, lie, God, lie. Kyle lies all the time. Oh God. Kyle comes home from school, and I said, Kyle, come on over here. You're a big, strong boy. And you know what? Children have been abused. Being strong and being able to protect themselves. And he was a big, husky child. It's really important. I'm big and strong. I know, Kyle. So let's just see how strong you are. And I asked him to just hold his arm out and say, my name is Kyle. Same thing Dr. Brad teaches all the time. And I could have stood on his arm. And then I said, Kyle, I want you to say, my name is Phil. Oh, even though this young man had a limited IQ and learning disabilities, they can be very clever, as all you parents know. You're telling me to lie, and you tell me I shouldn't lie. I can't lie. Kyle, please. Took a bit of doing, but I finally convinced him to hold his arm out and said, my name is Phil, and it just dropped down, and he got this funny, how do I want to help me? Look, I'm strong. I said, I know you are. Let's try it again. Try the other arm. Same thing happened. Well, let's try it again. Let's say I like meat. Oh, yeah, that's that pound stuff. I mean, this young man is 9, still calling food stuff and eating with his finger, among other things. This was the quality of the young people that I learned how to work with hearts and people. God gave me the best college education ever because we ended up with 3 of them, unexpectedly. Anyway, that's another story. But, see, yep, his arm's strong. I like brown stuff. You like meat. Kyle, let's say I like peas. You're telling me to lie again. Kyle, please, just for one time, say I like peas. And of course, his arm went flat to the side. Them green stuff, I hate green stuffs. I said, I know. And at that point, I lost it. I jumped around the kitchen. He thought I was crazy. God, 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 thank you, God, God. Kyle, God in your body going to tell me, no, now if you're lying to us. And of course, it became our go-to for everything. Kyle, hold out your arm. And you know, it had to be God that this young man never refused. And this went on, I had to share with the school because they didn't know where to go either. And I had to share with this, and I'd get notes. Mrs. Doerr, you have your own ways. Would you ask Kyle if? And I mean the types of things he did. Could you ask Kyle if he grabbed the other little boy by the balls and threw him on the playground? Would you ask if he really poured the milk over the other child's head? And of course, his body would give us the answer, and I'd report back to the school. And finally, after about 3 weeks of this, I said, Kyle, hold out your arm. He just sat there, and see, Kyle was frozen molasses. Very slow to grasp things. And he sat there and he says, well, it's like this. You had to be prepared to have a lot of time waiting for him to verbalize. God in my body. We'll tell you anyway. So I just will tell you the truth. Oh my goodness, what another breakthrough moment. And she's now an adult. She's 30-some years old. Doesn't seem possible. And he called for Mother's Day a few years back, and I hadn't told him about body code, emotion code, my involvement with Dr. Brad or any of this work, but I chose to that day, and he's wishing me a happy Mother's Day and thanking me and telling me what's going on with this world. And I says, Kyle, you know, I haven't told you about this, but I'm working with something called emotion code and body code and Dr. Bradley Nelson, and the whole thing is we ask the body if it's happy, if it's healthy, if it needs help. And we have to ask the body and have them hold their arm out and say, is your body happier now? Is it healthier? And he says, yep, God in my body made me quit lying to you guys, didn't it? Yes, Kyle. So with that as an introduction of why I got into it, how I got into it, now, literally 20-some years later, I'm here. My husband's died. I ended up across the country from the rest of my family, and I'm still here. And my prayer on my computer screen is the prayer of Jabez. I'm going to read it. Oh, Father, that you would bless me indeed. You would enlarge my territory. Your hand will be with me, and you will keep me from evil. I'm saying, okay, enlarge my territory. I have a computer. There is internet. If that's how you wish to do it, And seriously, 35 years later, I have clients in over 37 nations. I'd say that's a pretty large territory. And it's as much as part of my life as speech, as sight. It's just as real, just as valid, just as easy to use and to teach. And oh goodness, all the gifts I could share. Wise words from a book that some of you may have read say, "My people perish from lack of knowledge." And in this day and age, if we don't perish from propaganda, and this will date it, and COVID be, and all the face masks are valid and needed, and not the benefit of them, oh goodness, but we can go to the God computer to get answers. And just for the heck of it, as I was preparing this, I looked up what is the most often used, what gets the most hits of the what site on the internet. Google got over 8 billion hits in the last 12 months. Now that doesn't include Yahoo and all the other search engines and their requests for information. How do I find? Where do I find? Where do I look up? The search for information of all the things has got to be the greatest gift we can have. If we can't get information, we can't do anything. And a recent Bob Proctor quote of the day said, "Anybody can make something complicated. Making it simple requires true mastery." Wow. So I've been certified in Dr. Brad's work for well over 7 years now. And the degree of making it complicated that is so often connected on the forums. And yes, they're just learning. They've just gotten certified, and I'm not putting them down, they're learning. But my goodness, the complicated requests I get. Well, I can't muscle test, but I wonder is if I do I have to look down at my right toe? How much water do I have to drink? Do I have to face north? On and on and on. It's mind-boggling. I mean, I can have a 3 or 4-year-old child doing this and flawlessly in a couple minutes. But adults have been programmed. Only trust your heads. I mean, the world would end if you ever allowed your heart to speak. And the heart is where the truth and the wisdom is. And it can't be something as simple as just asking your body. There's no college degree. One of my other very, very wonderful teachers, Raymond Grace, you may know him, an old mountain man, he says they had too many letters behind their name to have any common sense. It's so true. We don't need a college degree to be able to talk to our Creator and to get answers. We don't need a college degree for our eyes to see colors and to keep us safe and know what to reach for and where to walk. We don't need a college degree to ask the body if it's happy or not. It tells us the heart is a muscle that sends the signal through the muscles of the body, and we get a strong response, we get a better twist, and the stronger we are, the more flexible we are, the more our stamina we have, the healthier we are. I spend at least 50% of my time teaching the motion code and body code students how to turn off your head and turn on the heart and get accurate answers. And that's why I put this whole series together. And this is just an introduction to it. So enough blah, blah, blah. Here's what I'm covering in these lessons. And I've chosen to call it Muscle Test Mastery because I want you to master all aspects of it. Then use it and then teach it. I want you to know the scientific proof of its validity, how to use it, how to apply the information your body shares. So today I'm sharing how I got here and why I'm doing this. In the next 6 lessons, I want to share the history, the validity, and the basic 2-person arm test. And even though it's basic, I'll cover it. Lesson 3, we want to go on 2 and 3, how to master the one thing we have got to do before you go any further. The basic must know. We're going to cover some other variations, 7, 8 of them, some really fun uses. Lesson 5, we get the reset method because some of you heads still are going to refuse to allow the hearts to speak without even knowing how to focus on the muscles. And this is really the reason people can't muscle test. It is for lack of knowledge of what the cause is. It's not at all what most people expect. And we will do some reset techniques that hopefully will help 95% of you. But there's still a few 5% that by now my experience tells me there's a much deeper reason, and these patterns have followed you all your life, and this is God's way of saying it's time to quit throwing the garbage in your face, and let's move on and really get to the bottom of resetting this heart so that you can trust yourself and deserve and be worthy. And then, I didn't intend to do this, but I threw up a full teaching session, because what good does it do to have a tool if you don't know what to do with it and how powerful it is? I want you to see how I use this tool, and how learning and hearing the true message of the heart that wants to share, that this is where the awareness of the true blocks and issues is stored. And so to close this out, I'm going to just share the way I used muscle testing just today at the grocery store. I came out and I have a flat tire. I live alone out here. I work on hearts. I don't work on cars. My son's 1,500 miles away, no family near. What do? I test. And this is my method of muscle testing, by the way, and I will explain why. Just for kicks. Don't do this. Please, please, please throw this in the garbage. Erase it from your mentality, and in the next lesson I'll explain why. This one is at least valid because we're working with muscles. This one we're not. Anyway, just because I don't have a camera that in a space, I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, is this car safe to drive 3 miles home when this tire as it is? Is it too flat? Too flat, not safe. Okay, so now what do I do? Well, I guess, do I ask somebody here at the parking lot for some advice? Yes, I do. Okay, who do I ask? Well, I see a gentleman that's pushing his cart right kind of past my car. Nope, not him. Okay, a couple more pass. Should I ask this one? No. Should I ask this one? And then I look across the parking lot, across the sidewalk, and there's a couple walking. And I, yes, by what percent? 80%. So I walk over within voice range and I say, sir, may I ask you a question? And he says, well, yes, of course. How can I help? And I says, well, I have a flat tire over here and I need some advice. Could you please look at it and tell me if you were your car, would you drive it home 3 miles as it is? And he comes over and he says, oh no, where's your spare? Show it to me. Well, sir, I don't need to ask you to change it. I just need to figure out what to do. By now his wife's standing beside me and she says, how did you know to ask him? He's a mechanic. This is what he does. And he says, you have a spare? And Jack, would you loan to me? So I opened the trunk. He took one look and he says, oh, we're in like plan. Give me 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most. He had that spare tire on in less than 10 minutes. I truly played blessings on him every way they needed. But as he was doing that, his wife came over and said the most amazing thing. She says, thank you so much for the blessing you're giving us today. And I said, would you explain that a bit? She says, oh, she says, our belief is whenever anyone needs a favor or needs help, and we help. When we help others, we've opened the door to the blessing, to receive blessings that we need when we need help. And she said, thank you for the blessings you're sending our way, for giving the opportunity to receive the blessings we need. Now, folks, of all the people in that parking lot, I've never heard that response. It still gives me goosebumps, because this was the couple that I said, yes, ask them. And the tire was on, and they asked if it was okay if we could pray together. They prayed blessings over me, over my world, what I needed. I shared the same prayer with them. I thanked them dearly, and they went their way. I came home safe and sound. And so, oh, one other thing while she was standing there, I said, ma'am, I do energy work. She looked at me and I said, well, yeah. I said, just hold out your arm. I'll show you how it works. And I asked her to say her name, and her arm held strong, and say her name was Bob, and it didn't. She's just flabbergasted. She's never heard of this. And I said, well, this is how our Creator created us. So right there in the parking lot, within just a couple minutes, she at least was introduced to the wonder of muscle testing, wonder asking. I call it wonder ask. Instead of, I wonder if it's my adrenals. I wonder if I didn't drink enough water. I wonder why I can't get the answer. I wonder. No, just quit wondering. Let's just ask. Ask the body, and that's what I intend to teach. In the next 6 hours, we're going to hope that we moved you from, I wonder, in fact, what I should do to, I know, I just got an answer. My body told me, and it's so amazing. I can do it. Thank you, thank you. This is Sharon Doerr, Doorway of Hope. And please, please, I truly hope that you go ahead and decide to purchase or to listen to the muscle testing class. I did it that way just because it makes a much better use of my time. And for those of you who still need help, and yes, after doing it for 1,500 people, there's a percentage of you, but at least we can start at the 5th or 6th or high school level rather than having to start at the kindergarten level, uncovering and resetting your blocks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Go to my website. You can PM me. You can let me know you want the class, and I will send you the links. There's 6 hours of teaching, and please, please, please take advantage of them. Your body's asking for help. Thank you, be blessed. This is Sharon Doerr, Doorway to Hope. Thank you.